Todd Semonite, who's doing a fantastic job at the Army Corps. We have interesting construction talk, don't we?
Yes, sir.
Really great stuff. President of the National Border Patrol Council, Brandon Judd. Hello, Brandon. What are you doing sitting back there? I've never seen that before. You're always up here with me. You're getting low-key lately, huh? That's confidence. That means he's got a lot of confidence. That's great. And thank you for everything, Brandon. Say hello to everybody. Great job you do. Appreciate it. He was a supporter of mine before I ran. He said, I hope that guy runs, right? So I appreciate it very much. We won't forget it either. And several other very dedicated and heroic members of law enforcement. I met just a few of them back there, and they gave me a beautiful replica of the wall. A little shorter version, but that's okay. And we want to thank everybody. We're also joined by some of my very good friends and people I have great respect for. You have a great governor in this state, and he's been a great friend for the state, but he's been a great friend to our nation and does just a great job. Doug Ducey, thank you very much, Doug. Appreciate it. Talk to you in a little while.
Yes.
Appreciate it. Senator Martha McSally, who I hear is doing very well. We need you in Washington. Will you please win? Because we need you. The alternative that's running against you is not the person that we want. He's got things that we don't want. So we want you to win this race. It's very important. And we appreciate all the help that you've given us, especially on the border wall. We appreciate it, Martha. Thank you very much. Representative Debbie Lesko has become a tremendous friend of mine and supporter. And with the impeachment hoax, she was right up front. And it was good for you. You became very famous. I became more famous, and you became very, very famous, right? Well, it certainly didn't hurt. She was one of the really great advocates. She was terrific. We appreciate it, Debbie. Thank you. Yuma Mayor Douglas Nichols. And thank you, Douglas, very much for being here.
Thank you. Welcome back to Yuma.
Thank you very much. It's really an honor. And Yuma Police Chief Susan Smith. Thank you, Susan, very much for being here. So my administration has done more than any administration in history to secure our southern border. Our border has never been more secure. I think Doug can tell you that. Anybody at this table can tell you that. It's never even been close. The numbers now, including not only the wall has helped a lot. Where we have that 200 miles, 212 and now 220, it's really essentially almost, I guess, 99.6 or something like that. Maybe somebody can get an extraordinarily long ladder, but once you get up there, it gets very high. And it's just about unclimbable. So it's really great. That's made a big difference. But we have other things that we've done. During the past 2 months, we've seen the lowest number of illegal border crossings in many years. Illegal immigration is down 84% from this time last year. Illegal crossings from Central America are down 97%. Now, the news, I won't say fake news, I want to be nice today. So the news will say 97%, Doug, that's not very good. But 97%, I would say sounds pretty good.
A plus.
You sure it's 97, right?
Yes, sir.
90, that's a pretty good.
Yes, sir.
That's a pretty good number you're doing. 97% down. Nearly 450,000 pounds of drugs have been seized this year, and 2,337 criminal aliens have been apprehended. We've stopped asylum fraud, ended catch and release. If you look at so many of the different crimes that come through the border, they're stopped. We've implemented groundbreaking agreements with Mexico. I want to thank the president of Mexico. He's really a great guy. I think he'll be coming into Washington pretty soon, to the White House. But they have a total of, what's the number today, would you say? Soldiers, what would you say?
Over 20,000, sir.
Yeah, over 20. So we've had 27,000, 28,000, 25,000 Mexican soldiers are on our border, making sure people aren't coming across. I want to also say that we've made a lot of progress with Guatemala, El Salvador, and Honduras. And now when somebody comes over, whether it's MS-13 or anybody else, we bring them back and they take them gladly. In the previous administration, they didn't take them at all. They wouldn't take them. They said, you keep them. Using our emergency public health authorities, we prevented a coronavirus catastrophe on the southern border, shutting down human smuggling and swiftly returning the crossers. We call them crossers. They cross now, we bring them right back. In the old days, it would take years to get them back. You wouldn't get them back. Other administrations, like the previous administration, essentially didn't bring them back. Without these public health measures, the southern border would be a global epicenter of the viral transmission. And if you look at some of the towns on the other side of the wall, as an example, in California, we have a certain area that is heavily infected on the Mexico side. And if we didn't have a border wall there, it would be really a catastrophic situation. So I just want to thank everyone, the Biden people, and he's controlled totally by the radical left, as you understand. He's not controlling it. They're controlling him. They want open borders. They want criminal sanctuaries. They want everything that doesn't work. I don't even think it works politically, frankly, at this point. People see what happened. You'll take a look at what's happening in Seattle, or take a look. Minnesota, such a great state, but you look at Minneapolis and you see what happened there until we sent in the National Guard. We said, you got to do it. As soon as they were there, boom, shut down. All the problems they had shut down. You didn't hear about them anymore. And many other places. Last night in Washington, we heard they were going to take down the statue, Washington, D.C., the statue of Andrew Jackson, a beautiful statue in Lafayette Park. And Mark Meadows is here. He heard about it. I heard about it. We sent people there, and law enforcement did an incredible job. They ran into that place, and we were minutes away. There was a sneak attack. And now we've enacted an act, a very specific statue and monument act that puts people in jail for 10 years if they do anything to even try to deface one of our monuments or statues. So we have numerous people in prison right now. Others are going there. And we're going to look at that from a standpoint of retroactivity. We can go back and look at some of the damage they've done. But largely it's state damage, because the states have been very weak, extremely weak in protecting their heritage and protecting their culture. So the states are going to have to take care of themselves. But we're there to help. If they want, we'll gladly help. But the federal statues, monuments, buildings, various things that we have, including if you look at the Jefferson Memorial or the Lincoln Memorial, they want to take down George Washington. How about that one? That's a new one. We heard that the other day. George Washington. I don't think we'll let that happen, Doug, right? I don't think we're going to let that happen. But George Washington and so many others, I really don't even think, frankly, they know who they're taking down. I think they just want to do things for bad purposes. So, and these aren't protesters; these are agitators and others.